This is really gross, but dirty trash cans can pose a serious health risk to you and your family. The pungent smell can attract rats and flies, not to mention maggots, both of which can contain dangerous diseases transferable to humans. Your dirty trash can is susceptible to harboring dangerous bacteria. Contact Brandon at Fitz Trash Bin Cleaning today at 440-752-1533 or find them on Facebook. Veteran owned and operated and eco-friendly. Again, call Brandon at 440-752-1533.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of 4th and 15 with Mel and Smooth. I am Mel. Joining me always is Ronnie, Big Smooth Hennigan. Smooth, what's up?
Excited to be back. Looking forward to the show. What's going on with you?
It's cold as shit up in this motherfucking fucking snow. It's fucking Cleveland, man. Outside of the snow, this fine Atlanta Falcons fan sitting next to me, not only is he a good sports analyst, but he is also the newest member of the 216 Sports Network and Redline Radio, Uncle Rico McGee.
How y'all doing? It's good to be here. Definitely good to be here.
Can't believe you wore that fucking Falcon shirt.
You know what, man? It started from my grandmother. Rest in peace. She was a diehard Falcons fan, and for the times I could remember when I was little, man, we just sitting watching Falcons games from the time I remember them playing at Fulton County Stadium, like before the Georgia Dome. Yeah, that when they shared it with the Braves. Like, yeah,
Nice.
I was.
I still had a Jerry curl.
Yes, that's when Dion first got drafted. Remember the big gold ring, like the head.
Yeah.
He came in, ran the 4.340, and then bounced. I'm like,
Well, speaking of bouncing, we're gonna get right into it. We got a short show. There's a lot to talk about, but not a lot to talk about. So for those that normally watch us, this makes sense. All-Star weekend in the NBA, and the Cavs are still sitting in fourth place. They just lost to the 76ers the other night, and they only lost by what, 6?
lost by 6.
So here's my thing. The Cavs are sitting fourth in the East. They are 5 games, 15 games above 500, 14, whatever you want to call it, above 500. Here are the questions I have. I got 6, but I'm going to break them down into 3. Are they a threat in the East? And do you think they can advance in the playoffs? And if so, can they beat Philly? So we'll start around the room, Lee included. Are they a threat in the East?
I'm gonna be honest. I think they can be. Their chemistry is building. It's just that playoff experience to me is gonna play a role. Because last year they didn't make it out of the play-in tournament, but you acquired Donovan Mitchell. You've got some more scoring, and you have the best defense in the league right now as it sits. I think you can be a threat. It's just gonna depend on some things falling into place. You're gonna have to depend on that defense. If you do have to meet Philly at all in the playoffs, I'm not sold on the Sixers in the playoffs because they don't get out the second round. They don't. The Philadelphia 76ers, if they get out of the second round, that's like winning the finals for them. And I'm not trying to throw shade, but
Well, fuck.
I mean, that's just my thing. So I think as for back to the Cavs, as far as the Cavs are concerned, I think they can be a threat. They just gonna have to rely on defense and legit scoring.
Well taken. Ronnie, what about you?
For me, I feel like the Cavs are a threat in the East for sure. There's a couple of question marks surrounding them when it comes to how they match up against, Boston and Milwaukee late in the season. Because to your point, Rico, it's the playoff experience is what kind of, tells the tale between those three teams. That's the only thing that I really see right now, right? Other than that, I feel like there isn't anyone that is in the East right now that can top them, especially with all the movement and the trades that have happened. So that story is something different, but it's wide open for them. I feel like they definitely have a way of trading those seeds as well, because remember, with them losing to Philly, Philly's only up one spot on them, so that's interchangeable. I feel like by end of the season, the Cavs could end up third seed or even second. Because right now the Bucks are on a surge, right? They've won 12 straight, so they came out of nowhere. In terms of this season, not overall, they've been good, but like this season they came out of nowhere with 12 straight, right? And Giannis got hurt, so we'll have to see what happens with him. But outside of that, I feel like they're definitely a threat. And the way the East is looking right now, it reminds me of how the West was. Seeing how the teams match up, how they're already at almost 40 wins, and the All-Star game hasn't even started yet. That's unheard of for us. We're not
Right.
used to seeing that, at
Not,
least since
not
before the
post-
LeBron. Right, post LeBron. Right, I was about to say that. Post LeBron, we're not used to seeing that. So it's good to see them come back around and get that. I think the difference this year, because it's something that Rico said, the different piece they picked up. So you got Donovan Mitchell. That was a huge win for us. He does very well with Garland in the backcourt. I like those two. They play off each other pretty well. I think also the difference in your bigs, because a lot of it relied heavily on Jared Allen, but he had that injury last year, and we saw the difference with him not being there in the presence of the paint. But you got him in there, you got Mobley, and you have Robin Lopez. So there's like a plethora of big men now that we didn't have before. So I think that's a difference maker too, in terms of, let's say, matching up against a Philly or someone like that in like a 5 or 7 game series, whatever. That's gonna be the big difference too. But yeah, we'll see how it goes, man. But the Cavs are definitely a threat in the East right now, especially with all the movement and how they've done in the offseason.
All right, Lee, what about you?
I don't really watch basketball, so I can only go based on what I've heard, on like sports reports and stuff. But I mean, I do think that the Cavs are definitely a threat. Everybody seems to be really high on them right now, and I think that that's something that they haven't had in seasons past and everything like that. And everybody says that they're definitely one of the shoe-ins in the East to make it into at least the second round of the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. I can see
Okay.
that too.
I'm gonna make this unanimous, but I don't think they're a threat. I think they're a pain in the ass. And the reason I'm saying that is because Ronnie and Rico, y'all both made a point. We have big men now. We haven't had a big man since Z and sometimes Ben Wallace was here. And that's not saying anything bad, but it's just big men for the Cavs historically have not been there. They've been athletic 6-footers. Like Brad Doherty, Bobby Fields, Mark Price, the pieces are there. As far as big men is concerned, I can only remember Brad Doherty and Z as far as an imposing force in the middle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So here's why I say they're a pain in the ass. I watched that Sixers game just like I'm pretty sure the rest of y'all did. And I'm thinking of this as a what if scenario.
Mm-hmm.
What if the Cavs are using these games against the Sixers as a learning experience for the playoffs? Like, what if they are actually preparing to see the Sixers in the second round? Now, hear me out. Hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
You got Mobley, you got Allen, and you got Lopez. What if, because Rico, you sent me this question last night. I didn't have an answer for it until I actually saw the tape delay replay of the game later on that night. What if they're using all of these games against Philly as learning curves to set up a defense to stop Joel Embiid? Because when you look at it, everything else is covered. Garland can play defense. Mitchell can play defense. Mobley and Allen are great defensive players, but Embiid right now seems to be the kryptonite. So what if this is a learning experience for them and they advance to the second round, have to see Philly, and then Embiid just turns into pretty much a shadow of himself because now there's a blueprint, like similar to what the Steelers do for Lamar Jackson. I see that happening. I could see that. I know that sounds crazy to those watching, but if you're an actual player and you figured out the blueprint like the Steelers have against Lamar Jackson, because if you watch those games against with Steelers playing the Ravens and the Steelers defense is chasing after Lamar Jackson don't know what to do, don't know who to throw it to. Yes, those are close games, but look at how they play one person.
And you know what? That actually makes sense since we couldn't beat Tyler Huntley.
There you go. And we couldn't beat Tyler Huntley because nobody fucking sees Huntley.
Correct. Yeah, no tape.
Yeah, no tape. If you don't have tape on somebody, I don't care who you fuck you are. You could fight Mike Tyson. If you ain't got tape on Mike Tyson, you don't know. Once he starts backing you into a corner, you might as well start screaming for your mother because that body punch is coming and that uppercut's coming right behind it. It's the same thing in football. If you don't have tape on a person, you're not going to know what they look like until you see them.
And that's what's scary about having Kenny Pickett as our starter, because now every team in the league has tape on Pickett.
Yeah, unfortunately. But this is the same thing. We got tape on Embiid. JB Bickerstaff is a great defensive coach. I honestly am looking at conspiracy theory here, and conspiracy theory is telling me Bickerstaff is using these games against Philly as ammunition and a blueprint to stop Joel Embiid come playoff time.
Man, now you sound like Grape on Friday nights.
I might sound, shout out to Grape. I might sound like Grape. But you've been on the field. Rico, you've been on the field. Me and Ronnie have been on the field. When you have tape on somebody, it makes it that much easier to come up with a game plan.
It does. I mean, it also helps when you're in the ring, believe it or not, too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Roy Jones Jr. even said it when he had that exhibition fight with Tyson. Tyson treated that like a real fight. And he said, thank God me and Tyson is friends because I think he would have killed me. He literally said that post-fight.
Yeah, he did.
So if Tyson don't give a fuck about his own friends, what make you think he would give a fuck about somebody that ain't seen no tape on him? Mm-hmm. I'm applying the same thing.
That's career suicide.
Yeah, I'm applying the same thing to this scenario. I think Bickerstaff and the rest of the Cavs, Mobley and Allen included, are using this as ammunition and a blueprint, because I promise you, if let's say the Cavs do advance and they have to see Philly, I honestly believe this is going to be a pain in the ass series for Philly, and they're going to come out tired. Should they? They will come out tired as shit. And if they see Milwaukee or see Boston, they might get swept.
I think part of this too is that, looking back on the season and how it's went so far, this was only the second matchup, I think, between these two this year. No, sorry, the third. No, it's the second. The issue is that when they were in the preseason, they had some issues. The last time they played Philly, they blew them out. It was like 113-85 or something like that, And then they were getting blown out in this game and came back. So they're definitely playing around those pieces a little bit, because teams like this, you're going to see them multiple times during the season. It's not like, we play the Lakers and we see them twice a year. It's like you're going to see these dudes 3 or 4 times a season, because you're in the same conference or whatever. So the thing is, you can't be like, oh, well, we had that one. Oh, man, what we going to do? I get your point, because you're like, we can build a blueprint or a game plan and go from there and be able to figure out exactly how to stop them. And plus, certain pieces weren't there either, right? I think Embiid was having some issues. He wasn't 100% in that first matchup.
That ain't my problem.
For him to be, that's what I'm saying. And then in this one, it's like you got him full time, full game, no issues. And you see the big picture. And you're like, okay, well, this is what he looks like in the rotation mostly. This is how he looks with limited minutes. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of strategize off of that too and figure out what you're going to do. So, yeah, I kind of like that concept too. I think it's definitely something they can build off of. And you figure they play them again on March 15th. So, we'll see what happens in that game when they match off again.
I would actually like to see them fight. I would actually like to see him put Robin Lopez on Embiid, because I think believe it or not, I know Robin Lopez isn't the player that he once was, but he's still physical. He's still aggressive. And I think he knows how to play mind games. He's going to make Embiid fight. And that's going to throw Embiid off his game just a little bit, even if just a tad. I mean, I would like to see that because it seems like Embiid just gets away with throwing elbows and doing whatever he wants to do down low. And then when we do it, it's a problem. So
it sounds
that's superstar privilege right there.
You know, it sounds like they are. It sounds like what they need to do is they need to give Verajao a little more responsibility. You know, maybe have Verajao because we know he's back with the Cavs right on the, administrative side.
Tired, man, he's not. He won't be the same. It'll just be a stick of broccoli sitting out there because that's what he looked like.
Well, that's the thing. Like maybe have him, talk to Lopez a little bit and say, "Hey, man, this is how I used to get in the head of Kevin Garnett. It's how I used to."
He was
a around with guys.
Yeah.
Oh man, Garnett hated playing with
Garnett off.
It was annoying. Everybody say he was the most annoying defender they had to match up against. Man,
I believe because if his hair don't get in your face, he will.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's scrappy and he's just all over the floor, dodging that, loose balls and everything.
I love this hustle, man. I love this hustle. Love this hustle.
All right. Out of the East and into the West, because we already know Milwaukee probably won't let go of that first place lead, neither in Boston. It'll be a chase between Boston and Milwaukee for 1 and 2. They'll probably swap. But in the West, I saw something and I chuckled really, really loud because I couldn't believe this shit. Denver is at the top of the fucking West. In the words of Kanye, how, Sway?
That's Nikolai Jokic right now is just playing out of his mind. Like he's definitely a pick for MVP this year. I mean, he's just
it's not even Jokic or whatever. It's the fact that it's the Nuggets. When was the last time you remember the Denver Nuggets not having Allen Iverson or Carmelo being a threat in the West?
I forgot Denver had a basketball team.
Right. Right. And then here's the crazy part about that. Denver's at the top of the West. The Warriors are struggling mightily. They're at the bottom. They're 29-29. Last time I looked, 29-29, bottom of the barrel. Did they fall off? Is this the end of the Warriors dynasty?
Meanwhile, LeBron.
As far as the Warriors are concerned, I don't know. I know injuries have played a role. I know a few players that they were high on didn't pan out and they wound up getting traded. And Curry hasn't been healthy. Clay, I ain't gonna say he's a shadow of himself, but he hasn't been the Clay that I've known him to be since, coming back from injury. And right now, the team chemistry is just all off, and everything is just all off.
Worried about that fucking podcast he got with Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah,
take your ass go to practice.
Yeah, you should. I really don't. I mean, it's just a lot going on with the Warriors right now. I mean, they definitely got to do some soul searching. Well,
I don't know. I think for me, I feel like they are. I don't say we can necessarily forget about them yet. I feel like maybe we'll see something change because of the recent trades. Like maybe the Suns will be able to climb a little bit. Maybe the Mavericks change a little bit. But surprisingly, even with all that happening, the Warriors are only 2 games behind them. So it's like you're 1 spot out of an actual playoff spot, even at 500, 29-29. And it's almost like, okay, well, you still got a decent amount of games left after the All-Star break here. So anything can happen because the West is a lot tighter than what the East is in terms of, how close some of these teams are from the 3rd seed all the way down to like the 9th or 10th seed. So anything can happen, I feel like, over there. I don't think the Lakers are going to all of a sudden surge up or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? But I think Golden State definitely would have a chance to still somehow make the AC here. I don't see them going past the first round the way they're looking, but they still at least make it to the playoffs.
I don't think they make it into the play-in. if they suck like this with the two best shooters in the game right now, what is it gonna look like come playoff time? Think about this, man. Denver, the fucking Nuggets.
I'm not sold on Denver.
I wasn't sold on them either, but apparently they're at the top of the fucking food chain here come the All-Star break.
They're looking like old Dallas.
Yeah, they looking like Dan Marley's Dallas, Jason Kidd's Dallas.
Mm-hmm. Dirt Dallas.
So what does that say about the Warriors if a team you considered a doormat is now leading the conference? On top of that, y'all not scared of LeBron no more, apparently, because everybody's feeling like the Lakers ain't gonna make it. You haven't heard anything about Portland. You haven't heard anything about Dallas outside of the trade. Phoenix, they're quiet. We already know Phoenix is quiet. But those are teams you kind of expect to be in the playoffs. Those are teams you kind of expect to talk about towards the end of the season, the regular season.
Do you think that Phoenix will see Durant at all this year? Or was that a waste of trade?
Maybe I would give them a full season next season to make that decision because, Kevin Durant, it's still like, we're playing one half of the season and we don't know where exactly KD is yet as far as his health is concerned. So I wouldn't write them off this year. If it turns out being some shit next season, then definitely, it's like, that was a wasted trade. I don't know what,
I'm gonna milk it for what it is. The writing was on the wall. Him and Kyrie either wasn't getting along or the chemistry wasn't there. I don't think this was all Steve Nash's fault, being that he was put in a bad situation to begin with. You got a 7-foot diva. You got a 5'11", 6'1", 6'2" diva who's a fucking nut. One of them was gonna win, and it wasn't gonna be Nash. Let's just call it what it was. I hate to say it like that. I love Steve Nash, love Kyrie, love Kevin Durant. But the truth is, in sports, in professional sports, the head coaches don't have that much power unless they have tenure. Look at it throughout the decades of sports where there's a powerful head coach. Andy Reid. You don't do shit without Andy Reid say so. Why? Because he's had tenure. He's had tenure in Philly. He's had tenure in Kansas City. Mike Tomlin. Will Mike Tomlin leave the Steelers at some point, step down? Obviously, yes.
Please?
No, he's not that bad of a coach. You stop that. You stop that. He's not. The problem is, in reality, this is reality talking. The problem is the team is old defensively. Watt's old. Hayward's old. Minka is not as tough as body-wise. He's not as tough as he used to be. Those injuries are piling up for him. And his style of play is almost equivalent to that of Bob Sanders. For those of y'all that remember Bob Sanders gave you 8 good years of tearing people's fucking head off, and then the injuries piled up. So when Tomlin speaks to the Rooneys, he's got tenure. He's got power in that. You go out west, Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll will be buried at Quest Field or whatever it's called now in Seattle. He won't be buried in a normal plot. He will be buried at Seattle. I guarantee it. That'll be his final wish, right under his statue.
Yeah.
So when you look at Steve Nash's situation in Brooklyn, he wasn't going to win. He hadn't been there.
Since you brought the NFL, I do have a question for you guys. So how do y'all feel about Eric Bieniemy being the offensive coordinator of the Commanders now?
Wait, he took that job?
Bieniemy took that job?
Yeah, it just popped up like 2 minutes before the show started.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, breaking news.
Eric
Bieniemy apparently signs with Washington to be Washington's offensive coordinator.
Holy shit. Yeah, 37.
I hate to drop that stink bomb right now, but
But you know
Couldn't
what?
go without saying.
To become Commander's offensive coordinator. That's on
Andy
arrowheadpride.com.
Reid is pissed.
And why would you do that?
That's
See,
a
'cause we had this
lateral
discussion.
move.
Yeah, we've always had this discussion. You're right,
We
Rico. That
see.
is a lateral
That's
move.
a lateral move. What you?
And why would you do it right now after you just won your second Super Bowl in
You know
what, 3 years, 4
I
years?
think here's what I think this is. I think this is a chess move. Honestly, I think this is a chess move because not since Art Shell taking the Raiders job have we seen such an uproar about there being minority coaches, mainly black coaches in the NFL. Right? So now this hot commodity of an offensive mind who's obviously the greatest offensive mind right now in the game because he's made Patrick Mahomes league MVP. He's got Andy Reid 2 Super Bowl rings, which is something Andy Reid couldn't do in Philly, even though he had one of the best quarterbacks of his era in Donovan McNabb. Think this is a chess move. Yes, I'm mad at the fact that it's a lateral move because it's like if you were going to do that, you should have just stayed in Kansas City. But knowing the way my mind works as far as a chess move to show the NFL, y'all need to stop fucking around and actually give these men chances. You fucking fired Byron Leftwich in Tampa because of Tom Brady. It wasn't because he was a bad offensive coordinator. Because obviously he was on the team when the team won the Super Bowl, 3 years ago? 2 years ago? 3 years ago?
A couple of years ago.
He was on the team then. If I'm not mistaken, I think he was calling plays back then too.
He was up 31-9 was the final score.
So
Yeah,
he's good enough to win a Super Bowl calling the plays for Tom Brady, but he's not good enough to be a head coach. And he's played in this league. He played 10, 12 years? On sometimes bad teams, especially in Jacksonville.
Oh, yeah.
So why is the greatest offensive mind in the NFL right now, who's produced, his resume speak for itself. When you look at his resume, he got 2 Super Bowl rings. He got the league MVP under his belt because yes, Mahomes is a great quarterback, but without the great play callers, you don't get that MVP, bro. I think this is a chess move, and I promise you, if he makes Washington's quarterback look good, this is going to be on the league.
And think about this too. KC's offense looked like hot trash in the first half of the Super Bowl.
Oh my goodness.
Garbage.
Oh my goodness.
I was laughing the entire time. I'm like, Eagles got this in the bag. And then all of a sudden they gave fucking Mahomes
2 touchdowns on the same fucking play.
Exactly.
The same play. In the same spot of the same spot of the field, the same play. How the fuck do y'all not pay attention to that?
It felt like madness. Like, let's flip it. Let's flip it.
But how many drugs did they give Patrick Mahomes during halftime, dude?
Oh my gosh, man! When he was hobbling, like
baby bump up there singing, and they pumping every needle they can find into Patrick Mahomes.
It's not illegal to take a league what's the word I'm looking for? A league approved painkiller shot. It's not illegal. It's not illegal.
I'm just saying, because that dude came out and played like he was playing back in the week 1.
Well, keep in mind too, Andy Reid does not do halftime interviews as well. You know why that is?
Because he's too busy cussing out Mahomes.
No, no. And I found this. No, seriously, I found this out from my lady. My lady told me this. He doesn't do halftime interviews because he's too busy making the halftime adjustment. So whatever he saw at halftime, he wrote that to Bieniemy, and Bieniemy comes up with the plan. All right, this is what we're going to do in the second half.
So did he just go up to Bieniemy and be like, throw out whatever you did in the first half and let's go to the back end of the playbook?
Probably.
More than likely.
More than likely, I'm going to say yes.
Because I was pissed when Mahomes won that fucking game.
Let's because we weren't even supposed to be talking about the NFL, but since you brought it up, let's look at the reality. It was 2 light-skinned dudes. It was Nougat versus Coppertone.
Oh, here we go again.
And Nougat won.
Let's be honest. Did you agree with that whole call that gave him the first down?
Yes, I did. You know why? Because it was blatant. It was fucking blatant. You cannot, as much as I hate to say this as a defensive back, the truth is the truth. Whether Juju caught that ball or not, or was able to catch that ball or not, he still fucking held him. You've seen the close-up picture, you've seen the zoom in, you've even seen the game on replay on the NFL Network. It's holding. It's defensive holding. Anytime, by the rule, you impede the receiver's progression to get to the ball, it's either holding or pass interference. You're lucky if you're an Eagles fan, and I'm telling you this, you're lucky it wasn't pass interference. Why are you lucky it wasn't pass interference?
Put him right at the one.
Because it'll put him right at the 1 yard line, and it's a 15-yard with an automatic first down.
Suck.
Yep. And they would have scored touchdown for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's a 5-yard penalty. So you basically set yourself up to try and give yourself more time on the clock, which McKinnon was smart enough to realize, and he took that knee and made Philly use that timeout. So either way, you were screwed, but you gave yourself a chance by holding. Because 15 yards puts you on the one, they jump in. It's a done deal.
So let me ask you this then. When in any football game in history have you ever heard, oh, we have to give the defense time to reset?
That's all the time. They have to give the time. They have to give it by rule. And I'm not saying this is a great rule. I'm just telling you by the book. Anytime a play happens, the defense has, I think they have 10 seconds to get set out of the play clock.
They had more than 10 seconds.
Okay, well, that's not all.
And they literally, the refs literally let them sit there for like 40, 50 seconds. And then at the very last second, Andy Reid takes that red little piece of garbage and throws it on the field.
I got nothing on that.
Yeah.
I got nothing. I got nothing.
That was blatant cheating by the refs.
I got nothing. Well,
but
enough
about
the topic.
Enough about the Super Bowl.
Back to our topic. Real quick, still on the NBA. What's the finals preview? Early finals preview prediction.
Ooh.
I don't know. I mean, if the Warriors could somehow get out of this funk, man, you know, we've seen what they could do, but I don't know if they're gonna do it.
I got one that's gonna drop everybody's jaw right here. It's gonna blow y'all fucking minds.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna say something stupid too.
Give me Milwaukee out of the East. Give me Milwaukee and fuck it. Give me the Kings. I don't care. Give me the Kings. Give me the Kings.
While you're doing that, the Kings are third place.
Yeah.
They're third in the West.
I didn't even touch anything.
I know. Even with the Kings are actually third in the West.
They're third in the West.
Dude, this board has a mind of its own. All day I've been hearing
That's a brand new fucking board.
No, dude, seriously. Like all day I've been hearing. See, now the button doesn't even work. Like it just it's randomly going off.
A fucking brand new $200, $300 board. Now
try 8.
Same difference. Now it's all of a sudden it don't want to work. All right. I got Boston. I got Boston and the Suns.
That's not a bad.
That's
It's
not bad at all.
It's not, but do you really think the Suns are gonna do something spectacular?
If they do that Game 7 thing that they did last year, where they just went out and completely wet the bed, then it's like
I got Boston and the Suns. That's where I'm going.
All right. I had Boston as well. But out of the West, I'm going to go with the Grizzlies.
Of all fucking teams, you picked the Grizzlies.
I'm picking the Grizzlies.
Man,
yes, I am. Yes, I am.
That was worse than mine. We're going to move on.
Yes, I am.
Because
I believe we're going to see the surge from Ja Morant himself. He's going to do something crazy.
You better stop fucking with Uncle Shay Shay if you're going to do that.
Hey, man.
Because it's Black History Month, I figured I'd throw a little curveball in the middle of this. So I got a couple trivia questions for each topic, and I'm gonna start with the NBA because that's where we are. First black head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Don't go cheating, Rico.
Mm. Ooh, we.
Lee, don't go cheating.
Wasn't Paul Silas, was it?
It was the worst head coach in Cavs history.
Okay.
It was Lenny
Wilkins.
Wilkins.
Lenny Wilkins?
Yes.
Wow.
Then he took over after Fitch in the late 80s.
I should have known that, man. Dang.
Now, this should be an easy one. First black player drafted by the Cavs. And if anybody watching this says LeBron, I'm going to LeBron slaps you upside your head.
First black player? Was it Austin Carr?
It was.
Yes.
1971.
Yep.
Austin Carr.
Mr. Cavalier himself.
Yeah. Deep in the queue. Every time I watch them games, man, I get hyped for no reason. Like, yo.
Now, moving on to some even better news. It's big news for me. Football is now going to be officially back to being year-round as the Arena Football League makes its return back in 2024. We have no speculation on what teams are returning, if any teams are returning. But if I had to bet, I believe the Cleveland Gladiators and the Columbus Destroyers will be back.
Hey.
And hopefully, they do what they did in Florida and start an in-state rivalry because it's been missing in professional sports between Cleveland and Columbus for the longest. So, with that being said, what are you guys' thoughts on the Arena Football League returning?
I'm cool with it. Honestly, in Cleveland is a football town, so they're going to support anything football, whether that be the Browns, the Guardians. Hell, they'll support Glenville now.
They should have been did that,
but I'm definitely open to it. I love arena football. Like it's action packed, and it kicks that speed up. So now you 50 yards, a 50-yard field instead of a 100-yard field. I'm just excited. I'm excited to see it.
Ronnie, what about you?
I'm super excited about it. I definitely think that Cleveland will have a team. I mean, you figure if we want to throw history out there, you go back to what the Thunderbolts, I think it was,
Man, that's
in the 90s. Yeah, I hate to be that old guy, but going back to that, and then us getting the Gladiators from Vegas. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just huge to be able to see it come back here, right? So I think that Cleveland definitely have a team. We'll see who they actually announce and all of that, because like you said, nothing's set in stone as far as which 16 teams it'll be. But I'm excited about it. And I do agree that there should be an in-state rivalry. I think that, both markets are definitely there for that, especially with, Columbus having their teams now and because of who owns, the crew and stuff like that. I think there's a market for that.
And look at, and while you're saying that, look at the money they made on the war on I-4. And for those watching and are not familiar with arena football, I-4 separates Tampa Bay and Orlando, or Tampa and Orlando, by like what, 2-3 hours. So
it's not that. Yep.
Yeah, it's not that far. So go back if you want to see how the war on I-4 was so instrumental in the growth of arena football. Just think about this. Former head coach in the NFL, Jay Gruden, was also a 4-time Arena Bowl winning champ as a player with Tampa Bay and a 2-time winning Arena Bowl champ as a coach with Orlando. If that don't tell you, and the war on I-4 was the first rivalry game in the Arena League that was broadcasted in the championship game. That was the first and the last time the war on I-4 was in the championship game. Go back on YouTube and look at Arena Bowl 12. That'll tell you everything you need to know. People got hurt because of that rivalry. Shout out to Coach LaFrance. Shout out to Coach Wagner. And shout out to Dominic Jones, who was a former Cleveland Gladiator as well as an Orlando Predator.
Nice.
With that, here goes the trivia for the Arena League. I know this is gonna bust some heads. I'm gonna save that picture for last, if you don't mind. All right. This is Black History Month again. The two quarterbacks with the most rushing yards in a single game. Can you name them?
The most rushing yards
In a single game.
in arena.
Mm-hmm. There are two. And they're still on the list as far as I've looked. One of them actually did play for the Thunderbolts when they were in Cleveland, because Ronnie brought it up.
I'm stumped.
Me too, man. I ain't got this one.
Michael Bishop and Major Harris. Michael Bishop has
Ooh.
100. Michael Bishop has 100. Major Harris is right behind him with 95. All right, I'm going to move on to the next one. Name the first black head coach to win an Arena Bowl.
First black head coach to win the arena.
I'm going to let you cheat on this one.
Yeah, you're gonna have to let me cheat.
I said he's stumping me on these, man. Goodness gracious.
First black
And you actually watch arena football.
I know. That's what I'm like. Dang it. Oh,
arena
man.
bowl.
And the crazy part about it is you won't find this on the list. You won't find this.
Was it a Darren Arbit?
It was.
Okay.
Now, Ronnie, this one you should know.
Uh-oh. See.
He is the only quarterback to win the Arena Bowl with the worst regular season record. And he's from Cleveland. He is a current quarterbacks coach at Glenville.
I know the wide receiver coach at Glenville. Shout out to Teddy Tate.
Apparently I've been gone from the land too long.
Arvell Nelson. Arvell Nelson went in with a 3-14 record, swept everybody in the playoffs, and won the Arena Bowl. He's the only quarterback with the losing regular season record to win the Arena Bowl.
That's crazy.
That is wild. You only won 3 games and somehow wound up becoming champions. That just
He carried that team. If you go
That
back
never
to
happens.
them games, he carried that. He carried that team. The Washington Valor.
Wow.
Now, Lee, if you'll be nice enough to cue this picture up, there's a reason this is a two-sided question. Now, the first question, in 1998, the man in this picture and the current Alabama A&M head coach won the Arena Bowl for Orlando. I already gave away the answer to the next question, but who is the man in the picture? Who is the teammate that won? His teammate was also the first black quarterback to win an Arena Bowl.
Oh, that's Connell Maynor, ain't it?
In the picture?
Yeah.
No.
That's not Connell Maynor?
No, it's not.
Oh.
And Connell Maynor went to North Carolina A&T.
Oh, Oh, no. Never mind. I thought you said, damn.
Connell Maynor was the quarterback of the team.
Okay. Take that up.
Man, he getting me good on these, man.
Okay, I'll switch it around. These two players have HBCU ties. They already have ties. You already said the answer, Alabama A&M. But the answer to that question is Barry Wagner and Connell Maynor.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And
Right,
then,
okay.
yeah, and then Maynor was the first black quarterback to win an Arena Bowl.
Okay.
At least through my research, he was the first black quarterback to win an Arena Bowl.
Okay.
1998. All right, last topic. And I'm excited for this too. Today at 3 p.m., the XFL returns. Not only does the XFL return after people said it failed, but it didn't fail because COVID fucked everybody up.
Yeah.
If you were smart enough to pay attention, everybody got fucking shut down, sent home, had to work with their ugly ass kids, had to deal with their ugly ass family members who they were stuck with in the house. Everything
Hey,
was
speak
fucked
for
up.
yourself. I still had to sling Popeye's chicken out a fucking drive-through every fucking day.
Well,
Yeah.
shit, black people love chicken. You know that.
Shoot, I was still at the factory.
Opening weekend,
hmm
Orlando and Houston, Vegas and Arlington, St. Louis and San Antonio, and Seattle and DC. From what we saw of the XFL the last year, what are you guys' predictions? Who do you think is going to stand out as a team? Because we don't know. I haven't seen any rosters yet. But who do you think is going to stand out as a team? And possible championship predictions.
I'm going to be honest. I was really high on the St. Louis Battlehawks the last time I looked at them. It was something about them defensive. If they could have just pulled it together a little better defensively and meshed a little more on the defensive side of the ball, I think they would have been a solid, because I think they were like, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say they was at either just below or at 500. But I was really big on the St. Louis Battlehawks, and with everything shutting down, I think they had a chance to regroup, and I think they are out now a little stronger than they were a few years ago. So I like the St. Louis Battlehawks, actually.
That's a hell of a prediction,
man. There's a couple new teams that Wayne and Donnie brought in.
The Brahmas.
In San Antonio, Brahmas with Hines Ward as their coach is definitely a team that I'm looking at. But my team in the 2020 season was the Seattle Sea Dragons. I think that's what they're renamed now. And I'm liking Seattle too. But so those are the two teams I'm looking at: Seattle and San Antonio Brahmas.
You know what? I think everybody forgets that outside of St. Louis, because I'm with you on St. Louis. St. Louis looked really good. Everybody forgot that the DC Defenders were at the top of that league.
The DC Defenders were at the top of that league.
Yeah, they were. I think they were the best
everything
team.
Fucked up. They were headed towards the championship.
Cardell Patterson was playing out of his mind.
But you got to remember, that was a completely different team, completely different head coaches, completely different everything. We don't know what these teams are going to look.
You are absolutely right.
Like right
you
now.
are absolutely right, and I'm not discrediting that, but I think I'm giving the edge to St. Louis just because they, from what I do know through an inside source, they have a lot of key pieces from that team coming back.
Well, that's good,
and I think that will be the glue that holds everything together.
I mean, Dwayne and Danny were doing everything that they could to try to keep the teams that were in place in the 2020 season as together as possible.
And that's a good thing on their part, because I think that's fair to the players.
Correct.
Definitely.
But I mean, we're just talking personnel wise, because I think some of those players from the 2020 XFL season might either have gone to the USFL because the USFL never really shut down or declared. I mean, yes, you're 100% right. COVID shut down the XFL. But Vince McMahon did declare bankruptcy.
But he made fucking money. He made money off of that. So how the fuck did he? You know what? It's Vince McMahon. I don't want him trying to knock my shit over coming up here. Hey, I'm going to leave it alone. But
hey, pal, I still owe those women $15 million. I got to get that money somehow.
Nobody told you.
Oh, man.
You should have been stuck. You should have been sticking Linda like you've been doing.
I think I would say for me, I'm kind of at a toss-up here. So I like the Battlehawks. I like the experience there. I feel like, their starting quarterback is AJ McCarron. And they also have Bruce Gradkowski as their offensive coordinator. Shout out to Bruce Toledo. And then also defensive line coach Leroy Glover. So my thing is, like, they have some good pieces there on the coaching side and player personnel. With some experience, in different levels of football. I think that'll be kind of cool to see if it comes together. I can't say it will. I don't know. We haven't seen them yet. Same thing for the Vegas Vikes, right?
Yeah.
So what?
I said we'll see them later on today. We'll see how everybody
plays. Oh, yeah.
That
for sure.
Game.
And then you got the Vegas Vipes. I'm excited about that to see how Rod Wilson does as a coach. So that'd be pretty cool. And then
I'm gonna come back to that. You brought up a great ass point. You and Lee brought up a great
yeah,
ass point. I'm gonna come back to that. But
because
continue
that's
with your
different for me.
continue with that because I like where that's going.
So like Brett, I'm sorry, Rod Wilson being their head coach, right? Because I had a chance to look at some of the rosters before the show and just seeing like the difference in quarterbacks and personnel, and of course it all starts with QB. So I think that's where my question mark is because the QB of the Vegas Vice is Brett Hundley. Now, me personally, I don't know a lot about him, but for some reason, he's going to be the highest paid player in the XFL.
Why? He wasn't that good.
That problem, yeah, but they apparently feel like he's worth 200K. So,
In college, he wasn't that good.
and he didn't do a whole lot with Green Bay either. So I don't know
There you
what
go. Why are you paying
they
him? You know
see.
what? It's their money. It's their money.
It's Vegas, so I guess they got something. But I'm excited just to see the whole league come back in general. But like for me, it's just those two teams only because of the aspect of the experience, like at the NFL level, and also other areas that I've seen with the Battle Hawks and who they have on person or as far as player personnel and coaching staff. And then for me with the Vipers, I feel like Rod Wilson got something to give, man. I would love to see him exceed. So I mean, excel, excuse me. So we'll see what comes out of that.
Well, here's my thing. Before I get to the trivia, this is what I want to know personally. Why are there more black coaches at the current state of the XFL? Why are there more black coaches in the XFL than there are in the NFL?
Mm.
Nobody caught that?
Because they're trying to compete with the NFL and
No, you don't even need to. You know why you don't need to? Because the XFL already has a deal with the IFL, the Indoor Football League. They get their players from there now.
My question is why does Texas need 3 teams?
It's fucking Texas, man. Texas is its own fucking country at this point.
yeah.
They don't even want you. They don't want you touching God. They don't want you touching their guns, and they damn sure don't want you touching their football.
Yep, God, gun, and football. That's it.
God, guns, and football in that order.
Man,
so
sounds like Cali.
No, nowhere near close. Cali is not touching Texas. You are not. If you've really been to Texas, meaning you've been to San Antonio, you've been to Dallas, you've even been to Houston or even Corpus Christi. You're not fucking with football. You say anything bad.
Oh yeah.
About football.
Yeah, you're right.
In Texas, you might fuck around and come up missing.
Yeah, Texas. They do football. Football is a way of life. Football is its own religion in Texas.
Have you seen some of the names of their head coaches though? For any of the teams.
I know Hines is in San Antonio.
Yeah, Arlington has Bob Stoops. Houston has Wade Phillips. Las Vegas has Rod Woodson. Orlando has Terrell Buckley. San Antonio is Hines Ward. Seattle is Jim Haslett. St. Louis is Anthony Becht. DC is Reggie Barlow.
But that's my thing. Why are there more black coaches in the XFL than the NFL?
Mm-hmm.
And you're not competing with the NFL because you're playing through the fucking spring. That and you got to deal with the Indoor Football League. So now they're your developmental league. Yep. How do you don't need to compete. You and the USFL have cornered a market the NFL ain't thought to touch since NFL Europe.
Here's one for you, Mel. You were talking about the defenders, right?
Yeah.
Their defensive coordinator is Greg Williams. How's that for
you? A Browns defensive coordinator at one point?
He was, and then he took over for another team, and his defenses did well. I don't know. We can't speak on the other side of the ball, but his defenses play well. Every team I've seen that dude coach, his defenses have done well. So I'm excited about that because we've seen it firsthand on multiple teams.
It's going to be exciting. I'm excited for this because arena football, whatever level you watch it at, arena football is about to start up. The IFL will be starting up soon. I know training camp will be starting within the next couple of weeks. We will be following that limitedly, but we will be following that. I did speak to head coach and Toledo native Jack Walker Jr. So shout out to Jack. Waiting on you to make your decision, man. Where you gonna be at? Because he's got a couple of offers. Uh, it's just you literally was smart enough as far as Danny and Dwayne are concerned. You can't call them the Rock because this is professional. Like Danny and Dwayne were smart enough to know you can get your players from everywhere else. I don't know why the fucking NFL has not picked up on this. And the reason I'm yelling about this is because Lee, you've heard me say this. Ronnie, you've heard me say this. Rico, you're going to hear me say this. If you're hurting for players at a certain position or just period on the depth chart, you can fucking find your players from other leagues. There's no law that says you can't.
Exactly.
And I wish for the life of me, if nobody else does this, I wish the Steelers would do it more. Get your players from other leagues. Rent these guys for a cheaper price. If they pan out, great. If they don't, just pay them their money and send them back so they can develop. Come back next year, see what happens. The
Exactly.
XFL, especially for skill positions, the XFL was smart. What's the best league to get or best level of football to get your skill players from? Indoor football. Why am I saying this? Think about how hard it is to do anything as a skill player in indoor football, arena football. Think about how hard it is. You can't run a regular post. You got to skinny
you
it.
don't get 50 yards.
Yeah, you got to skinny it. You can't run no corner route. Why? Because it's a wall waiting on you. So you got to figure out how to stem that route and get open.
Holy crap.
Your quarterbacks, what you done found out now?
The linebackers coach for the San Antonio Brahmas is Joey Porter.
Yes, sir.
Oh, this is going to be a fucking interesting weekend.
Yeah,
It's
it
gonna be
is.
a great. Yeah,
I'm excited, man.
But what I'm saying is you get
Yeah, buddy.
I think, and Kurt Warner is the best example of this, even though there have been other quarterbacks that have done well in the AFL or in arena football and have transitioned decently to, outdoor football. But Kurt's the best one. Kurt's the best example. And if y'all ain't paid attention, Kurt went from nothing to something. And he wasn't even nothing in the arena league because he was actually playing up against, at that time, the height of the arena league, the original arena league. They were at the height. And he was going up against the best. He was going up against Kenny McIntyre, George LaFrance, Damon Mason. He was going up against the best DBs in arena football. And he was carving them up. So imagine what he was going to do. For a short period of time. Made it to the championship. The only reason he didn't win it was because his offensive line stunk. Now imagine if he carved up the best DBs in arena football, what was he going to do with the right offense, the right weapons, and the right head coach? He got all three. Yeah. He got Dick Vermeil, he got Marshall Faulk, the greatest show on turf, and Torrey Holt, Ricky Prohl, and Isaiah Akeem. And he had the greatest offensive mind at that moment in Mike Martz. You didn't think he was going to succeed? NFL, take note. If you don't start looking at these lower level players, you're fucking stupid. And I'm saying that just because the body of work is there. Don't shoot the messenger because I shoot back. But just think about that.
And it makes sense because people have to understand too, like it's a different speed in the game. It's a different level of the field I have to work with in terms of the length, the width, all of that. Like you said, the walls are there. There's so many different elements that you have to look out for, or different things you got to pay attention to because cast is in motion. A lot of times too, there's a lot happening off of that. You know what I mean? So, and then as far as the quarterbacks go, you don't have the same area to throw to, right? Because think about that. From a quarterback's perspective, when he's looking downfield or whatever, let's say he goes a little bit further, halfway down. Next thing you know, it's pretty much like playing in the red zone. You have a shortened field. That's not easy to play in. People are like, oh, they're getting close to the red zone. Like, yeah, that's great. Once you're there, once you're like in a goal line set, it's so many people cramped in a small ass area. You know what I'm saying? Man. I mean, we played the game, we know. But from somebody's perspective.
In the red zone, It's where your defense earn their money. And the
Man,
football earning all your money.
all of it. The whole man.
And now here I think we should be able to get the trivia on this one.
Okay.
Name the most famous XFL player. This goes past and present. Right now,
He hate me.
you fucking asshole.
If he didn't say it, I was gonna say it. Yeah, I mean,
You fucking
Man.
asshole. But you are correct. Rod Smart, aka He Hate Me, is the most famous XFL player.
Man, you can still buy that Ninjas jersey on eBay,
I
man.
believe it. I believe
Mhm.
it.
you know what? He had a solid NFL career too.
That's where I was gonna get at.
He had a solid
very
NFL
solid
career.
Because here goes the next trivia question. Name the first player to play in the XFL and make the jump and play in the Super Bowl.
He hate me.
Yeah. 2003 with the Panthers against the fucking Patriots. Rod
Oh,
Smart
man.
touchdown, if I'm not mistaken.
Honestly, that's
Ooh,
probably
wee.
the only time I root for Carolina. 'Cause
I don't
hate
even give a fuck about that part. The fact that he made the jump. When people say you can't make the jump, I got examples of people making the jump from a lower league to the NFL. Darius Prince is one of them. Arvell Nelson is another one. He Hate Me is one of the most decorated XFL players. And he wasn't big by any sorts. He was just the toughest player for his Outlaws.
Yep.
He was this player for Vegas. He was the fastest player for Vegas. And he was the most arrogant. Why? Because he knew he could do it. And Darius Prince of the Albany Empire and the Philadelphia Eagles. So don't tell me players can't make the jump. These coaches, the coach accountable. I'm gonna hold the DMs in the front office accountable because it's up to them and to pay attention to these guys. I know a guy now who's going to be the offensive coordinator. Mike Tatum. Ronnie, you heard of him. Mike Tatum is one of the greatest indoor football players ever, especially at the kick return position.
So this just made
Deserved a shot.
this just made the XFL interesting, and the USFL have revised their rules to eliminate the provision by which a forward of the end zone automatically results in possession for the other team.
That's interesting.
Well,
You live where you fuck up and fall.
Additionally, if the ball is touched by any other player who is also touching the end line, the ball will return to the falling team.
Basically, cuts the break.
Wish they would bring back the
Wow.
scramble.
No, because you fuck around.
And then, you know what? To
The
your
game
Right.
will be over before you start.
your best player out for the season, and the damn ball ain't even kick off yet. You like, what the hell? Damn.
You know, to
That
your
did
to
happen
your point,
game
Mel.
week one of the original XFL season.
Go ahead, Ronnie.
Oh man, I
But like,
remember that.
but to your point, Mel. When you talk about players making that jump, you know, from let's say the XFL to the NFL, we also have to go the other way and think about how some players went from the NFL and had to go to the XFL or
Yeah,
some
so-
other leagues to continue
And
to
then
play,
go back.
right?
Landry
Right.
Jones.
So
No,
you
and then go back. Tommy Maddox.
know,
True. I mean, but Landry Jones is like probably
Man, who the fuck cares about Landry fucking Jones? He wasn't shit at Oklahoma. He sucked now.
Yeah.
I hate. Look, y'all told me to be honest when we first signed us to this fucking radio station. You told us if we gonna be a radio show that speaks on sports, we got to tell the truth. Landry Jones sucked at Oklahoma. The only thing that helped him out was the fact that he had Bob Stoops. Correct me if I'm wrong. Adrian Peterson. And a fucking defense that could kill a fucking fly at 400 yards. So why do
Man.
you expect me to believe Landry Jones?
I'm not saying he does. I'm just saying you asked the question about or Ronnie mentioned, players that went from the NFL to the XFL and then back again.
Mhm.
He ain't going back. I wouldn't bring him back. For what? To hold my clipboard? I could do that. If I'm a coach, if I want somebody to hold me for that bad, and I'm down on my luck, I will hold my own fucking clipboard.
Okay, and you want to know who else from that I'm seeing here? Josh Gordon, Martavis Bryant, AJ McCarron. These are all players on NFL or XFL rosters for this season.
All right, Josh, I'm not gonna touch. I'm just not. Just not. AJ McCarron, didn't really care for him. He sucked at. I'm not gonna say he sucked at Alabama. He benefited from having multiple weapons around him and the greatest college coach of all time at this point in Nick Saban. Nick Saban can make a fucking mop look good.
I'll go out there and look good in Nick Saban's offense.
Ronnie, I know crackheads that'll look good in Nick Saban's offense.
That's true too.
So he looked like it's so, and I keep saying this, I'm gonna stick by this. If you pay attention to him in college, you know what you're gonna get in the pros. Baker wasn't all that.
That's how Deshaun.
Baker wasn't all that. RG3 was all that until his fucking coach got stupid and started running more than he let him throw.
Mm-hmm.
And that hurt his career, obviously. Obviously, that hurt his career to the point he ain't even playing no more. So, you know, I do. You're right. There have been players that had got sent back to the or made the jump to the XFL. Tommy Maddox was the best example I had because he actually got
until he got replaced by Ben Roethlisberger.
But he made the jump back, is what I'm saying. He made the jump back. He won a playoff game. Remember, they beat the Browns.
Mm-hmm.
So he wasn't a bad quarterback. He was inaccurate, and his decision making was very poor, especially when he was with the extreme in the XFL. He was hit and miss. He got that together, back play, get shit together, or there it is. He wins a playoff game.
Now speaking of players trying to get their second shot, do you ever see a chance for a team to take a chance again on, let's say, Cardale Jones?
Yeah, they should. That's a big motherfucker, man.
Cardale Jones.
Well, yeah.
We've been around Cardale. We looked at Cardale. I got a picture with Cardale at one of my arena games. Yes, it makes sense. Get these guys while you can. And I'm not saying that to be funny. Y'all talk about Deshaun Watson and how he's, the game has passed him by. The game ain't passed him by. The game passes by guys like Warren Moon up in age, like Ben, like I'll say Jerome Bettis, because Jerome was winding down that Super Bowl.
It was his last year.
Yeah, but you saw the decline though.
Oh yeah,
those are the type of people the game passes by because they are up in age.
Holy
Cardale
shit.
ain't up in age. Cardale is right. He's 26, 27. Yeah. Get him.
Yeah, he's currently in the IFL. Yeah.
The Defenders replaced Cardale Jones with Eric Dungy.
Tony Dungy's son?
It looks like, yeah, probably.
Yeah, Cardale's with the Massachusetts Pirates, I think, IFL team.
Yeah, he's in the IFL. I forgot about that. But
yeah, they signed him.
If there's a quarterback you want to get that's durable, that's who you go get.
Yeah, the Big Bama.
Oh, what? One more trivia question. I forgot about this before we close out the show. First kickoff return for a touchdown. Who was that player? Ronnie, you should know this. We had him on our show.
Dog. Let's see here. Oh my gosh. It's in my head too. I can see his face. I can see his face, man. It's bothering me.
Any XFL or
XFL?
Yeah, he had XFL stint. He was trying to do CFL. He was trying to do CFL. We had a whole conversation with this dude, man. I don't remember his name. I can see his face.
No, it's not he.
No.
He came close though. He did have a 90-yard kick return. He got caught.
Mm.
He got caught because the dude had an angle.
That's one thing I wish that Dwayne would have brought back was they could put whatever they want on the back of their jerseys.
Yeah. No.
Oh
It was
man,
Joe Powell.
Joe Powell. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, he was a very humble dude, man. That's a very humble guy, man.
Great guy. Shout out to Joe. Joe, we hope he gets back on the show sometime during the season if they let you.
Man, I can't wait until we start breaking down some XFL games on 4th and 15, man.
Oh, bro. We back now, so it ain't gonna take long. Let's let this first week blow by. Let's let this first week blow by, and then we'll see where we're at.
And then I got some.
Mhm.
Dude, I'm definitely gonna have some thoughts on my show too. So
Since you said that, shameless plug time. Shameless plug. You can find Rico on Rico Sports Minute on YouTube as well as the 216 Sports Network. His show gonna have to be longer. I'm just gonna be honest. I can't sit for that minute and just be like, yeah, I agree or I disagree because it's a fucking minute. It's literally a fucking minute.
Well, you know,
His
people-
longest show is 3 minutes long.
So piss and you miss it.
Pretty much. You go on a bat, you do a pee break like they used to do before the women's revolution started in wrestling. You go for a pee break, you done missed the match. And here go this guy.
That's a
Do
different
not be
business.
putting Lexus shit on our show. We got women.
Mm.
That was
Oh
Lisa.
man.
Oh God,
Sorry.
Lisa, if that's true. We got to talk. We got to talk.
Oh man.
But no, you can find Rico's Sports Minute on YouTube, Facebook, and I believe Instagram and some TikTok.
TikTok, yes.
I don't know how to fucking use TikTok, so don't ask me. You can find Rico.
Fuck the Chinese.
Lee said that, not me. I don't want to be bombed. I don't want to be bugged. But you can find all of our shows and more on the 216 Sports Network, as well as our website at Blogspot. Also, I did send you another picture on Redline
You
Banner.
son of a bitch.
I meant to tell you that. My bad. Apologize. But we are growing as a company, and we could use you guys' support and help, as we got a lot of big things coming up. Got a lot of adventures we're taking part in. If Lee would be,
I'm working on it. Calm down.
yeah, he used to be smooth on the computer, man. I don't know what happened. He got slow in his old age. But
Well, when
Yeah.
you don't tell me that you send something,
man, I thought you would check the computer from time to time. I did apologize. Shit. Jesus Christ, man. You can cash out any donations to the 216 Sports Network. Anything helps to help us grow and continue to do what we do, as well
so
as,
I can send you a penny.
yeah, man, you can send a penny, you cheap bastard. Always the cheap motherfuckers that say shit. But anything helps. Like I said, we also do broadcasting of live events, so this would help us towards getting new equipment, keeping up our updated equipment intact, and keeping us on the air, as well as keeping us out there plugging these sporting events that we go to. So, with that being said, that will be the end of this episode of 4th and 15. We'd like to thank Lee for being nice enough to bring his ass back to the studio. I'd like to thank Rico for joining us. Like we said, you can catch Rico on Rico Sports Minute on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. Like I said, don't ask me why we ain't on TikTok, because I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't know how to fucking use TikTok. I'm gonna learn though.
Don't feel bad. I don't even have a TikTok account.
Bro, I'm still getting used to fucking Instagram. I'm still having trouble with that shit.
Dig it.
I'm still learning how to use TikTok. I just upload the episodes and it work. I don't know why. It just
I think we're like too old for TikTok.
Pretty
I
much.
think
I
that's
think
what
so.
it is.
Man.
But if you catch us out and about, don't forget to shout us out, because we will be out and about. I know Rico has been covering the charge. I've been covering the crunch along with Rico. Ronnie's down in Columbus, so we pretty much got from Cleveland and Columbus covered. So, and we will
Thanks,
be
man.
back regularly on the air. We just have to figure out, you know, if it don't snow, how we gonna get to the studio. That's it. So
Go Brahmas. Go Sea Dragons.
I'm with the Battlehawks, man. I don't know
Yeah.
why. I'm just with the Battlehawks. They just, I think it's the uniform. I think that's what it is.
It's something about the helmet that just was like, oh, okay. well,
Yeah, I think that's what
Yeah.
it is. Oh, before I
I'm gonna pull for the Vipes then. I'm gonna pull for the Vipes.
before I forget, because I know Dave's gonna bitch about this later. This show has been brought to you in part by Detroit Auto Parts, the official auto parts store of Redline Radio. Mention Redline Radio at either store on the east or west side and get 10% off your auto parts purchase. This show is also brought to you in part by Growing Wings Adult Services, the official cleaning sponsor of Redline Radio.
Hey, whoa. They are not the official cleaning sponsor of Redline.
Well, who is then?
We don't have one.
Well, they was.
No, I think you're cross reading.
What'd that say right there?
The official sponsor of the state of the art Studio 2.
Ain't that Redline Radio though?
Yes,
All right then.
but they're not cleaning.
Well, how the fuck is it get so clean? I know you ain't do it.
Bullshit, motherfucker. After every show.
The fuck is all this over by my chair then?
Oh snap!
Blame Tim for that.
Uh-huh.
Oh man.
Okay, well, since Lee has a problem with that and he cleans now all of a sudden, I'm gonna just skip that.
We are in the Growing Wings Adult Services Studios. Growing Wings has over 7 years experience of helping adults with disabilities. For more questions on how Growing Wings can help your family, reach out to Lisa today at 234-334-7547.
If Lee would have just let me fucking do it, we wouldn't have had this problem and he wouldn't have had to say all that shit. I would have said it. Anyway, and last but not least, Tattoo Therapy Inc. and Erie Art Gallery. If you need a tattoo or if you're thinking about getting a tattoo, head over to Tattoo Therapy Inc. They got Dave together. They got Lee together. Lee looks like a fucking artboard. And, you know, he's a nut bar too. So whatever tattoo he has, I'm pretty sure it's a reason behind it.
And Unscripted will be there live.
Tomorrow, right?
Yes.
All right, tomorrow, what? Tomorrow morning?
10 to 12.
There you go. So get your ass over there and get a tattoo and listen to the show. All right. 4th and 15. That was Lee. That's Rico. That's Ronnie. I'm Mel. Peace.
Big are you?